Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're here to talk about the 2024 K drama show, Marry My Husband. And as always, I have here with me Sylvia
Hello.
and Ro.
Howdy, howdy.
Sylvia, you're sort of responsible for putting me and Ro on this journey, and I cannot be more thankful to you because I'm really excited to talk about this show because the past 16 hours that I watched of this show have been wonderful, even though there was some really crazy plot twist towards the end, and I'm like, did we need that? But again, thank you. I mean, you obviously saw the show this year because it just came out. But how long ago has it been since you saw it?
A few months. I think when I started watching it, the whole show hadn't fully come out yet. So I think I had to wait like a week or two for the last episode to come out. But I'm pretty sure I was pretty much with like the time of when it just came out. I was seeing it all over my TikTok, and at that point I was staring at it thinking, okay, this is a show that I'm gonna enjoy. So I went back and I started watching it, and I'm pretty sure most of the episodes were there, but I think it was like the last episode or two that I just had to wait on.
Oh, okay. That's it. Because obviously we're so used to Netflix just dropping things and we get to binge them. So you actually were actually a fan and you're watching this week by week. So that's cool. I mean,
Not week by week. I binged it. I just had to wait a little bit for the last few.
The last few. Well, again, I'm a big fan of the show and I really cannot wait to start talking to you about it. But, before we start talking about Marry My Husband, why don't we catch up, bro? What have you been up to, man? What have you been watching?
So I did write this down. So beforehand, I apologize if I pause randomly. It's because I'm muted because I'm kind of getting over COVID. So I still kind of have a cough. So, but because of that, I've been able to watch a lot of TV. So,
Yeah.
I saw the new movie that came out on Netflix called the Union with Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I was kind of falling asleep too, but that's kind of when COVID would hit hard. But it was okay. It's an action movie with Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg, kind of what you would expect.
Halle Berry looks great in it because I seen the cover of it and I'm like, man, she looks great.
Dude, she looks
sure
like she's in her like late 20s, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
No, if you've never seen Swordfish, go to your way and look at Swordfish because you will see a lot of her in the most pleasantly way.
Yeah, and it has Hugh
she's
Jackman.
Beautiful, man.
And Hugh Jackman, actually, Sylvia.
I gotta watch. Oh, first picture that came up, her and Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman shirtless. She looks beautiful. This is my next show.
Oh no!
And John Travolta.
I will pay to hear your opinion on Swordfish. What else, bro? What else?
Especially his test on his hacking. Anyway, so I finally saw Monkey Man as well.
Oh, nice.
So that one I liked. It was a little bit different than I thought it was going to be, but I thought it was a really good action movie. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like some of the Japanese or Korean like fighting movies, kind of like martial arts movies, but it was Dev Patel, and I thought it was really cool. As a plot and story wise, it was okay, but like the action was pretty good. Top notch.
For being his first movie, like he's directed, like to me, it's like he did a great job.
Yeah, and I like the symbolism and how he made it like Indian, so I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I always, probably a country that I never want to go visit, or I don't know if I'll ever get the opportunity, but like I always love in how movies they depict India because it's like something I've never seen before, so I always enjoy, especially because in that movie they did depict India in a very nice way during like the city parts.
Yeah, no, there's some movies like I maybe at some point we'll do like a Bollywood type of movie or something like
absolutely.
or Slumdog. I know Slumdog Millionaire is not a Bollywood movie, but
does RRR count as a Bollywood movie?
Well, I don't know what counts as Bollywood, but it's an Indian movie, and I watched it. I liked it. But and then I finally hit Luffy Gear 5 in One Piece. So
damn, you're a year behind.
I know. when I like in the early stages when I was watching, that's when like it happened. I think I was still like in in the maybe like in the 1 or 200s when that happened in real life. So it's cool finally getting there. Like, oh, this is when that happened. And then I started watching. Well, I continued watching Umbrella Academy since I finished this K drama,
Same.
but I still haven't
I've been
finished it.
catching up.
But I've been kind of going through that. I'm almost done with it. And then I started watching an anime called I Parry Everything. It's on High Dive, so I got the 7-day like free trial thing. But then I didn't know that the whole anime wasn't out yet, so there's only 8 episodes and there's more to come. So I'm probably gonna wait and then do another 7-day trial at some point.
I seen like a 1-minute clip of that show, so I kind of know the premise.
I
But
like it.
yeah.
I like it. The main character is kind of clueless. Like in the first episode, it's in the episode names are kind of funny because it's called like I parry a cow, I parry this or that. Because in the first episode he fights a minotaur, but he thinks it's just a cow because he thinks that like he's not strong at all because he's only good at like one thing.
Damn,
but he's
it's another.
so good
Sounds
at
like
it.
another mash show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit. But it's I don't know. I like it.
Yeah.
So I'll finish that at some point. And then the big thing that I binged like all day today, that's probably gonna surprise some people. It's kind of like a docu series on Netflix that just came out called Pop Star Academy Cat's Eye. So Hybe, which is like a K drama or like it's a K-pop like studio. It's like the people that created B2K B2M
B2 B2K.
Were they? Yeah.
BT
I think
BTS.
so.
BTS.
there you
BTS.
go.
Hyde was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So them and some other studio got together and they kind of did this kind of like the K-pop like academy where they train people to be in groups or whatever. But they did in the US and they kind of wanted to create like an international group. And it was kind of like the docuseries showing them from auditions to kind of forming the first like 13, 14 all the way till they got to 20 and then kind of like starting to eliminate like girls because it's a girl group. And then all the way until they got the final group. Because apparently all this happened last year. And then the docuseries just came out. But
oh wow.
So that was interesting to watch. Yeah. I saw that today. All of it.
Yeah. So I guess what Raul was
all
trying
of
to
it was that good where you were just watched right through.
Well, my sister had been watching it, and then she told me like, "Oh, I'm watching this thing or whatever," and then she showed me something of it, and then it was like, fine, I'll watch it. So I started from the beginning, and she was like in episode 5, and then she just watched the whole thing with me.
Nice. So I guess what you're trying to say is if anybody's looking to catch up on things or watch as many things as Raul, make sure you get COVID. Go out of your way and get some COVID.
Go out to some restaurants. Just
go to some conventions. Start kissing everyone in the mouth.
Give everyone a little smooch. Just
lick some doorknobs.
If it comes out that Ella Purnell got COVID, I will
blame you.
I will be blaming you.
You got it the same way that I did.
Yeah. No, that's a long list. Sylvia, do I have to look forward to a long list like that from you?
Not a long list, no. I've been a little busy, but because you guys brought up India, I just wanted to bring up a fun fact, and I just fact-checked myself to make sure I had it, because Mitchell and I were talking about fun facts and about geography.
Yeah.
Bangladesh. Do you want to guess how many people there are just in the capital of Bangladesh?
Oh, capital?
In the capital?
Just the capital.
I said
16 million.
I was going to say like 100 million.
So 24 million, just about like an average. Yeah. Michigan only has about like 10 to 13 million people in all of Michigan, and Bangladesh is so much smaller than Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
Can you just imagine? Because I think overall they have like 170 million people all around, just within the whole country. But anyways, that was just my little fact that we were talking about.
One of the people that I work with in my company is we work with people from India, so we have to their schedules obviously different than ours, but I'm aware of all their holidays. So like I can always tell you when they're gonna have a holiday or anything. So again, I it's a country that I always love to see things about in like movies to learn more about. So that's interesting.
It's a lot, yeah. Which Michigan, you'd think that we're not using our resources well then, because they're obviously thriving with their little country over there too.
Or
So
Bangladesh.
that was just like that was just my little interesting fact. But show wise, not too many. I mentioned this show to Raul. I started rewatching it again. It's Terra Nova. It's a dinosaur show.
You did start rewatching it?
Is that
I did.
That's another Fox show, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
And I keep going back to that show.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites, and I think that if they filmed it and it was released, yes.
I've seen Terra Nova.
You have?
I have seen
Do you
Terra Nova.
enjoy it? Do you like it?
Is that the one where the future's all messed up, so they have to go to the past?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I've seen
their
Terra
past
Nova.
is like on a different timeline,
Yeah,
so
it's on
they're
a different
going back,
timeline.
but it's a
Oh,
different
so you
timeline
think it's
type
on a
of thing.
different timeline, right? That's like part of the plot twist?
Like they're sent back in time, but it's a different space and time that they're sent back, basically. So whatever they do doesn't really change the future of where they live now. So that way, because obviously you don't want to go back in time to accidentally do something to completely change
that's
the
how
future.
time travel goes, because when you change something, it creates another timeline.
Traveling back in time and space, so they're traveling back to like a different timeline, not like a different time
not Planet of the
period.
No. So there. I mean, I remember it. It got to a point where there was a little bit of a plot twist to it, and I don't remember exactly what it was. Like they found somebody, and I remember that person being important for reasons. The one thing that's stuck to me about that show, and you can watch it on the first episode, but I always remember because in this future we don't have resources. He found like a melon or a watermelon, and he brought it home. Yeah, like an orange, and then he was like sharing it with the family. And I'm like, dude, if I lived in a world where I couldn't eat like my grapes, my mangoes, like I would just end my life.
Wow.
See, to me though, it's family tradition, because in Poland, obviously, we kind of came. I think the year that I was born, we were just finally coming back from like communism and everything. So we did have oranges during Christmas, and it was like this amazing thing, like having an orange. So when I saw him do that, I'm like, oh, that's just like back in my homeland. But it's a good show, and I wish it came out like 5 years later. I think it came out in like 2011.
It was too early.
It was too early for it. People weren't really looking at like those dystopian type of shows. I think if it came out during the time that Divergent did or Hunger Games, it would have gotten a lot more traction. It's a good show, and it has pretty good CGI compared to some of the other shows too, I would say.
Yeah. I would say if anybody's a fan of Avatar, the guy from Avatar, which is the bad guy, the general, like he's in Terra Nova or whatever the show's called. He's in that, and he's like a main cast member, and so you can see a lot of him.
The guy that plays Osai.
Is that his name in Avatar?
I think so.
I don't remember. Anyway,
the Fire Lord? Yeah, Fire Lord.
No,
Osai.
no. Oh wait, no, because that's Mark Hamill. You're talking about
no,
right?
I'm talking about Avatar from freaking James Cameron's Avatar.
Oh, the blue people.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? No, it's
like Osai, the Fire Lord.
I'm talking about the main bad guy from Avatar, with James Cameron's Avatar. The military guy.
Yeah.
Is he a bad guy in Terra Nova though?
No, not in Terra Nova. He's not a bad guy, but in Avatar Pandora.
Yeah, he's the guy that plays the dad of the second Avatar kid.
Yeah. Well, he comes back. Like he's not really dead. It's a clone of him. Yeah. That they commissioned.
Either way, great show. Do recommend if you. I think you have to buy it on Prime right now, but it's on sale or whatever. It's a good show. It's one of my favorite. I was watching Sweet Magnolias because that's just a little comfort show that you can watch from Netflix. It has the girl that was on Reba, the daughter of Reba. She's one of the main characters there. It's just like a little feel good show. It's they live in a small town. It's kind of like
Gilmore
What's
Girls.
the other show? It's just like Gilmore Girls, pretty much. Like a small town, families getting together. It's cute. And then Carlos will appreciate this. I went back to Game of Thrones.
Oh, great. I love Game of Thrones.
I think I'm on episode 6 or 7. It's where...
Oh, the second season, right?
Yes, yep. It's where I'm forgetting his name, but he was really close to the Starks. He left to get them the ships to kind of help them with the
Oh,
war, and then he tried
Greyjoy.
kill or finding
Greyjoy. Yeah.
and then he tried finding the two boys. They couldn't find the two boys, so I think they burned the fire, or they burned the two farmer boys instead,
Yeah.
and they pulled him up, and his face was just like, oh my god, what did we do? Rob finally got with that doctor girl, which I think they're so cute with each other.
Biggest,
and I
biggest,
love
yeah.
her. Yeah, I love her. She's so sweet.
You know what? There's gonna be an episode where I wanna somehow record you, and I wanna be there when you watch this episode. Because there's
is it the last episode of this season?
Don't even talk about it. Don't even breathe about it, Ro. But
I think it's the last episode of the season.
Okay, don't. Okay, there's just an episode, Sylvia, that we're gonna have to watch somehow together.
Okay. If you tell me which episode it is, I'll save it and I'll go on Discord. So if anyone wants to join us on Discord, I'll play it live.
It's the season finale.
And I'll have myself on camera too.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up so that you don't have to.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's the season finale.
Okay, well, I mean, the thing about Game of Thrones, like, any episode might shock you, like, especially where you're at. Like, it's not even like at the end of the season you're gonna get another crazy moment. It just can happen. I will say,
what's her name? Sansa, the
Sansa,
Sansa, yeah. Her, I would have been killed immediately. She's playing it really, really well. I don't love her character. I understand her character. I just feel like the moment my husband or to-be husband kills my dad, immediately just like cutting him open. Like, I'm out.
Jeffrey's again.
Joffrey, hate him.
Joffrey,
hate him so. Oh my god, I hate him so much.
He stopped acting because of this role.
Really?
Yeah,
he stopped.
I feel really. Oh, I feel bad. The character's horrible. I don't think the person would be horrible.
You know, it's the craziest part about it is, you know, you think Joffrey is gonna be as bad as they come, but it gets worse. Like, I
can only imagine.
It just gets worse after that.
And then after you finish it, you can watch those about to die to redeem a character at least.
So, like, the Khaleesi parts, I'm not enjoying them that much. I feel like I would have enjoyed them more, but I'm not.
That second season, they don't do much with her, because if I'm correct,
it's
right
pretty
now she's
slow.
just kind of wandering around looking
rich
for.
Dude, she's like, who took my eggs? And then the prophet that whoever talks to is like, she's with the person that took the dragon eggs type of thing. And now she's like in a meeting with all of them.
I was gonna say some of the things that they introduced or like in that season, I think it's like magic or like wizards.
I think what happened with that? She gave birth to like the shadow, and then the shadow was just killing everybody from that camp.
Well, so
you're there already? The fire priest lady?
The fire lady, the priest lady.
The fire lady, yeah. She gave birth to like that shadow, and that shadow just started killing.
With the Baratheon brother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he killed the yeah, exactly. No, that's what to me pisses me off about some of the later seasons. Like they dropped the magic stuff. Like, you know, like,
I didn't like the magic stuff. I wish they never brought it up.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it could have used more magic towards the end, because they just, again, they kind of.
I think every show could use more magic.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, the red lady, man, again, another fucking crazy thing that'll blow your mind later on. But she's awesome. Yeah,
she's awesome. She's gonna piss me off.
No, she's definitely one that
she's a mixed character.
Yeah, she bounces from, like, you know, thinking she's evil.
She's consistent in what she believes in, though.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's fair.
But you know, that religion, if you ask me, I guess the old gods are kind of like, you do see clues from them, the ones that live in the trees. But like her religion, like, she can back it up. Like, she will show you shit. And I'm like, a lot of these other religions,
or whatever they're called, the leader of the brotherhood.
What is they worship the fire god or the sun god?
Fire lord?
The sun, yeah. The sun something, I think, yeah.
I don't remember.
I haven't, I'm telling you, like, I think it's time for me to do a rewatch of Game of Thrones, but I love Game of Thrones so much. And every time I see like a 2-minute TikTok video about a certain season or episode, like, I'm like watching it completely, because I'm like, man, I totally just miss watching this show.
I've been enjoying it, yeah. When I was watching all of those episodes, I was kind of itching to watch it more. Then I got a little bit busy, and then you kind of want to watch something that's a little bit more in the background. I was paying attention to these. I wasn't speeding them up or anything like that. I was just fully enjoying watching it.
Well, I always tell people the second season's the one where you really got to stick to it
Mm-hmm.
because for some reason that is the one where I think after the second season everything just becomes so much better, and you won't be well till the very end, but like things do become a lot better after the second season.
I will say I realized in season 1 and in season 2, the first like 2 and 3 episodes, I was not into it. It was very slow, but again, plot building, so I get it. But then
Yeah.
once it left like that second or third episode, I was very much ready to continue watching the rest of it.
Cool, man. No, please continue to watch that, and and I'll make sure to look up where I want to be watching with you. But
I know.
for me, I'm gonna keep it very short because I've only, besides finishing Marry My Husband, I've only been watching one show that just came back on Netflix, and I'm hoping you're a fan of it, Sylvia, but you might not be. But it's Emily in Paris. That show came back, and me and my wife, we love watching Emily in Paris. Emily in Paris, like the actor, what's her name, Collins, like she's just gorgeous to look at. Like I love looking at her. I love looking at all her dresses. I love judging her dresses, and I think that's part of the fun of the show. But it came back, but to my sadness, they only gave me 4 episodes, and then they're taking a break and then dropping another 4, maybe later on in the year. But again, Emily in Paris, if you've never given it a chance, maybe give it a chance, and it might become one of your favorites unexpectedly. Because again, the outfits are really cool. It's a lot of fashion, and Lily Collins is just so beautiful to look at. Like I just love the way she looks. So that was my only show. I only had time for this one and Emily in Paris.
Yeah, I do like her as an actress. She was in that other movie with Taylor Lautner. I think it was Intruders.
She said,
Taylor Lautner?
Yeah, Taylor
So
Lautner.
it must have been a very high-grossing movie.
Oh yeah,
Since he's had so many after Twilight.
Oh man, what
Except for
was
that
it?
Valentine's Day one.
She hasn't had like the biggest career, which I think
She's
I like
a good
the fact.
actress, though.
Yeah,
she reminds me a lot of oh my god, what's her name? She's related to a famous celebrity.
Well, her dad is famous. He's a singer.
What are the three actresses that look the same? It's Sandra Bullock.
Damn, that's a big ask.
They look the same?
Anne Hathaway, and what's the third one? Anne Hathaway, Sandra Bullock, and something Roberts. Something Roberts.
Julia Roberts?
Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts has a famous niece called Emma Roberts. Is that it?
Yeah.
Right?
There's
I
Emma
feel
Roberts.
like Lily Collins and Emma Roberts are very much the same actress type. They both tend to.
What's blonde though? And the other one's a brunette.
No, I mean like their acting.
Oh yeah, because
like,
they're similar ages.
Similar.
They have similar.
I don't know, man. Like Emma Roberts, after she dated, I forget his name, Quicksilver. I don't know. I haven't really seen her in a lot, and I don't know.
She was
Lily
in
Collins
Scream Queens, but Lily Collins and her have the same acting. I get like how they present themselves while they act. I feel like it's very similar.
Yeah,
I think I like Emma Roberts better though.
We talk about how much you would pay for a picture with a celebrity, and I would pay for a picture with Lily Collins.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Well, you're also through hate at Ella Purnell after we took the picture with her, but okay.
Whoa.
I just said that she looked different in person than I thought that she was going to look.
Wow.
Anyway,
let's get par.
Let's get into some real drama. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvia, for anybody has never heard of Marry My Husband, doesn't know what we're talking about. I know you did a nice description for us when we were choosing what Korean drama show to talk about, but do you mind just breaking down, what this show's about for anybody that hasn't seen it?
Yeah, so Marry My Husband is basically, without spoiling too much, it's about a woman who is married to this man who takes advantage of her a good amount. She's, working, she's cooking, she's doing pretty much everything, and then she ends up getting cancer. And while she's in cancer treatment, she finds out that her best friend that she's known for a very, very long time, since they were kids basically, is having an affair with her husband, and they're both kind of hoping for her to pass away. So the whole show in itself is, while she's having while she has cancer and she goes back home and she kind of realizes that this affair is happening, she ends up getting killed. And instead of actually dying, she goes back in time. And now she's trying to fix essentially what happened to make it not happen to her and make better decisions this time around when she's kind of in the past, moving forward towards the future.
No,
That's the way I can explain it without spoiling anything for right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into spoilers.
Right.
I will say that when I started watching the show, I remember you had told us a description of it, but for some reason I took it a completely different opposite way. So the whole like the first episode was just like, oh, this is not what I thought it was gonna be at all, like going back in time, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But
Mhm.
I thought this show was gonna be about a woman that dies of cancer. And she comes back in ghost form, and she's trying to get her best friend and her current husband together.
Boy, were you in for a surprise.
I was in for quite a surprise.
Wait, but you still voted for it because you wanted a ghost.
No,
kid
yeah,
drama?
like I voted for it because it did sound like the best one from the description, and I came out a big fan of it because I think this is like the perfect show that I needed at this moment, just because it was something. Again, it was showing me. I'm not too familiar with K drama, so I just enjoyed seeing other actors from another country and seeing where they where they're supposedly living. I don't know if that was actually filmed like in the studio or whatever, but it felt really good watching the show. Positive experience for me.
It was kind of nostalgic because it's pretty much like the Mexican soap operas that I grew up with. Because like growing up, it's not like we each had our own TV. So whatever my parents
family TV in the living room.
Yeah. So whatever they were watching, I was watching. So that was like the soap operas, the Mexican soap operas that they watched. So like a lot of the things were like, I guess a lot of the tropes, and then a lot of the like the drama that was happening. It was familiar, nostalgic to watch this. I will say that.
Yeah, because like I know the U.S. Do they have like I know they have the popular like soap operas that have gone on for like 20 plus years, whatever. But like, yeah, you're right, Ro. Like growing up Hispanic, you did get to experience a lot of these soap operas, and you don't think about how many episodes whatever show had, but
They're like
in my
100
life,
episodes or more.
yeah, like in my life, it felt like those things could go for like a whole summer or a whole winter, and
a
like
whole
yeah,
year.
so you really. And you have to watch every episode because if you miss something, you're like confused.
There's
The
no
next
reruns.
episode, like what? Yeah, there's no reruns or anything like that. Um, that's why even though this show, if I had to say there was like a negativity to it, it was the fact that it was 16 episodes. Which again, talking about like how growing up we would get these operas that were 100 episodes. Like I don't know why that would like bother me, but I think it's just the fact that I've gotten used to like 10, 12 episodes from some of these modern shows that I'm like, I think some plot points could have been a little bit tighter. But again, I think especially at the end, like some of the stuff that they were dropping, I'm like, well, I did not expect this to come out of. I didn't expect this. I'm like, of course that girl would be pissed off because I like I would be pissed off as well as my mom left, or my dad left my mom for this other lady.
I went through several different emotions with several different people, where I went through kind of like ups and downs with a lot of the characters, but I found myself yelling at the TV sometimes. Like there was a point where I was yelling at what's his name, Yoo Ji-hyuk, which is the main protagonist, love interest guy, who was a manager and the heir to H&K,
the company.
The company. Yeah. But it's I don't know. I went through a lot of emotions. So let's kind of start in the beginning too, because a lot happens in the first even 20 minutes. Because pretty much your whole synopsis all happens in the first 20 minutes, because it shows like them getting married. It shows her already with cancer. It shows her mother-in-law treating her like horribly. It shows everything, and then it shows like people complimenting her friend, that she's such a good friend, that she's always there for her. And then it also shows her suspecting her husband of cheating on her and everything, and then her finding out that like going home because he won't pay for her bills, like her hospital bills, that she either needs them paid or she needs to leave, but she's like getting treatment for cancer. And then but he doesn't work because his stock's doing well, and you can't watch the stock as while he's at work, and all those things happen. And then she shows up, and then she catches her best friend with her husband, and then he took out a cancer policy because he, I guess her dad or her had cancer.
Yeah, her
Or
dad died
she
of
mentioned
cancer.
that her dad had cancer, and then
Yeah.
he said that he saw her kind of looking a little pale or kind of looking a little weird. So then he took out the policy, which was for a lot of money apparently. So that's kind of what they were looking forward to. And then she dies and all that stuff, and then she goes back in time, kind of thing. And then like all that happens in the first like 20-30 minutes of the first episode, and it just a lot to happen, which is what kind of hooked my sister, because I told her, well, this already happened, and then she was like, what?
First
And then,
20 minutes, there's still a whole hour left.
yeah. And then all of a sudden there's this random person that you haven't seen yet, and he's like saving her life like one moment after the next, from coffee pots and boyfriends and subway stairs.
Well, I remember in the first episode when Kang Ji-won and her best friend, were talking in the hospital, in her hospital room, and she looked at her red shoes. And I was a little confused because I'm like, man, she looked at those red shoes like hard, or they made it a point to be like, that girl's wearing red shoes. So I was like, did I miss something? Am I confused about these red shoes? And then later on, when she goes to the apartment and she sees the red shoes, she already knows or can kind of assume who's there with her husband. And we don't know much about the husband. Obviously, as the show continues, you learn what a whiny little bitch he kind of is.
Well, you kind of get a little bit, because you kind of get the glimpse of like her mother-in-law being like a bitch to her when they're doing the wedding,
saying how he's her little baby and he's just laying on the sofa next to her while she's the one cooking, cleaning, working, doing everything.
And then they're like talking shit about her like right in front of her. That like that's what you get for marrying somebody that's like so much less, that they get cancer.
Oh my god!
And they can't take care of you.
And like I remember when he quit his job, to me it felt like maybe not a big deal, but then later on when you find out, like, I mean, they worked together, and I guess I didn't catch that they worked in the same freaking like department. I'm like, well, yeah, that would be a big deal if your significant other just quits. You probably have the expectations of like having lunch with him, seeing him, spending time with him, and all of a sudden your partner's like, oh, I don't work there, doesn't really tell you anything about it. I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit messed up. And I might cuss more than normal in this, because again, he fucking just like pissed me off for a lot of things that he did.
Dude, I kind of saw him in that moment. I kind of saw him like one of those like crypto bros that says like, oh, I have totally this sure bet, so I don't need to work because my one stock is doing really, really well. But yeah. I was like, oh my god, what a fucking idiot.
It's even throughout the whole series, though, I will say her best friend still seemed like she was her best friend, just doing those little things to make sure that she knew that she was superior to her. So I was never too upset at the best friend versus how upset I was at the husband.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because she just wanted everyone to know that she was prettier or better, whatever. But she never actually hurt her. Yeah, but even when she had cancer, she was still visiting her. She was still helping her out. Her husband wasn't doing any of that. It was still all her friend.
Yeah, like she didn't put the cancer in her. That's just something that happened. I mean, I do have problems with, we'll talk about like how some of these things are meant to happen, but I don't know, man. I do feel like there is, let's say once they do, she passes of old age and she gets to heaven, and let's assume that, because I've been thinking about this, let's assume other people had this situation and they put them all in a room, and it's like, oh, what did you do when you went back in time? How did you change your destiny? And you find out like this lady sort of just put these people towards the same destiny, instead of like maybe putting herself in a situation like, what got my best friend to be at this point so obsessive about me? What made my husband just say I want to quit and become such a garbage, even though he seems to have always been like that. But I feel like this idea of her saying like, oh, I'm gonna make this person die rather than me, or or whatever,
transfer my destiny over to this person.
Like something about it just felt like wrong to me. I almost wish that, especially when you find out at the end that spoilers, but that's like her mom ran away with that other girl's dad. I'm like, okay, that's kind of like something that I think should have been confronted right away when she came back in, to the 2013.
But remember, she never knew, though. Her friend did, but she never knew until quite some time afterwards, where she realized that her mom ran away with her best friend's dad.
So it
She
took
didn't
her a
know this
while
whole
to find
time.
out.
Yeah, she
that-
didn't know this whole time.
okay.
Even when she went back in time, she had no idea until she finally saw, I think it's her mom and then her friend's dad, and that's when it prompted her to realize what had happened. She didn't know this whole time. So her best friend specifically set out, or Su-min specifically set out to become her friend, to
Yeah.
almost ruin her in a sense, or make her
This is
feel
what you
lesser
get
than
for
her.
taking my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Exactly.
Damn.
No,
I
no,
thought,
but
yeah.
she did know though, because she even said that she already knew, because like even when she was still a kid or like young, she ran into the two of them, and it was her dad or whatever.
Yeah.
But then she didn't tell her anything, because she even said that that she thought that Su-min didn't know that it was with her mom. So
Yeah.
she was trying to
And
spare her.
So she
And I
did kind of
think
know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they
and
knew
I
as a
think,
child.
but I think she thought she still had an okay family at that point, because she
Yeah.
only had
Yeah.
contact with her father. She
Yeah.
had no idea what her mom was really doing. She didn't know where her mom went with her dad, and she didn't know her relationship with Su-min's mom.
Yeah.
So to her, she was kind of like, okay, like
Mhm.
it is what
Yeah.
it is. I still have my dad.
And Su-min was jealous
so,
of her.
Yeah.
Her relationship with her dad.
Mhm.
No, and don't get me wrong, everything that Su-min did was wrong, because you don't do that to a person, but I really started feeling sorry for her as she sort of kept taking what was meant to be her life. Now she had her life, and especially that wedding moment, that episode where she was getting married, and then the people came in and were like being mean. I'm like, dude, this is I'm feeling like this is terrible. Like, this is making me sick, because I don't think she deserves this.
Dude,
it's happening to her, and it's just, I don't know.
She didn't though, because at the same time, if your best friend has cancer, you're not going to sleep with their significant other.
You know.
And
Funny
she
enough,
kept playing this game. They were just walking behind her back, and they were doing, like that. And I guess in the episodes you see when they all went to like that camping trip where they were getting the flags or whatever, that's where you see that that's where he technically cheated on her, right?
Yeah.
So we all know
it was
that
the
was the
horny
moment.
ox.
Yes.
Well,
that's all I got in my text messages. Horny Elks.
I
Dude,
do
it was
feel
hilarious. that was the
Yeah.
first time I laughed out loud.
No, I do feel like it's possible though, if your best friend's going through something where she's gonna pass away. You might, like, I could see it happening where it's just like her and her husband accidentally
comfort
or
in
develop
each other.
feelings because they're both talking to each other more than normally, or they're both
But
trying
that
to
was
help her.
before she got the cancer.
Yeah. Wait, what is it?
That's
Oh, the
before she
camping
even
trip?
got diagnosed with. Yeah, that was before she was diagnosed.
But I'm talking about like in like in 2023, like when that was happening. Like that to me felt like. So what you're trying to say is that
But no,
slept...
they cheated on her before she knew she had cancer.
So they started cheating at the camping trip in the original timeline too.
Which
really?
She didn't have she didn't have cancer at this point.
I thought because Su-min was in the camper.
Yeah, she was in the camper.
Yeah.
But then didn't in the original timeline her boyfriend or husband come to her because he didn't get a tent, so he wanted to sleep with her in the tent?
So in the original one, it was they were meant to have the tent together, and Su-min had the camper, like Raul was saying, and he went to see Su-min in the camper. But in this new timeline, it was now her, so it was Ji-won that got the camper, and it was Su-min that had the tent, and he went to the tent with Su-min because she didn't let him go into the camper with her.
Oh, damn.
So either way, they still cheated on her at the same time, but he did cheat on her prior to her knowing her diagnosis.
Okay, then that definitely doesn't get any sympathy from me. Then.
No, but I will say with her, like I did go through different cycles, because like obviously I empathize with her, and I was like, you know what, go get your revenge and transfer your cancer over to her, transfer the death over to her. She was a horrible person. That probably did care about you, but probably cared about herself more. But then like I saw her kind of be mistreated, so I was on her side. But then like I thought that she went fucking nuts. Like I thought she went like too much.
Yeah.
But then Su-min would do something even crazier. because I feel that like whatever she was doing was kind of pushing Su-min further to become crazier and crazier,
Mm-hmm.
and go to like a bigger extreme and all that stuff, because like she didn't go to those lengths before, but because Ji-won was is that her name? Ji-won
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Ji-won, yeah.
was pushing her further and further. It was kind of making her become more and more extreme, and kind of cornering her further, so that she
Mm-hmm.
had to act out further and make up even crazier lies, or kind of go to extra steps to kind of get back at her.
Well, I guess like in the first episode, you sort of established that Ji-won can't just break up with her boyfriend because then he'll immediately kill her, and
Mm-hmm.
then if she tries to
Or
break up the
beat her or
friendship,
whatever.
yeah, like
Yeah.
she could have even gotten crazier just because of her being like, I can't. So it's like I felt like you could have planned it, because you're right, Ro. I do feel like towards the end, like yeah, like she was purposely doing things that I'm like, dude, like I'm like you're getting out of it. Like why do you have to like
Mm-hmm.
throw salt when this wound is already open? Like you already got the wound open. Like why do you have to like bring in limes and salt and make it even worse? And I think she sort of did that, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like towards the end, even though we got a happy ending and the right people died, I guess, and then yeah, I still felt like a little bit sad about it, because I'm like, man, again, if you're being judged at the end of your life, like what did you do with the second chance? To me, it still
Mm-hmm.
feels wrong that you put these people in a situation where like people still died, people still got hurt, and it just kind of sucks, because even
Still
like
tortured people.
yeah.
The person I felt the worst towards, and I had to look up her name, is Juran. It was the lady that ended up being the manager. She took over the other person. She was like her
Yeah.
big sister.
Miss Zhang.
Yeah, so she was the one that
Oh
ended
my
up getting like that.
God,
I felt
yes.
so bad for her, because it
Yes.
seemed like everything from her, like that happened to her, just moved right towards her, and she was
Yeah.
the nicest lady. Instead
think
of
that-
But
Yeah,
she
I
was
think that's
kind of
the only time
clueless though
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. But I sent the text when that happened, I spotted that was gonna happen. I sent the
Mhm.
text
I
to the group. I'm
know.
like, no way, like
Yeah.
why her?
She was so sweet, and then Su-min was like the timeline was really working for Su-min. It was basically like she's gonna be fine, it's gonna be okay, and it went to this really sweet lady that we all started feeling bad for, and Mr. Lee obviously started helping her out kind of further in the episodes, but that broke my heart. The
I
moment she had to go to the
know.
hospital, she was so sweet.
I know, but I think it was good that happened in the show, that because it kind of
was able to
shows
leave
that
her
like
husband.
her plan isn't foolproof. Like
Mm-hmm.
that there's still like there could be collateral damage, and there's no like one right way to do it, because like it could still
Like
affect
someone
other
had to
people.
get cancer, and it just so happened to be her
Yeah.
instead of Su-min, which is who she probably wanted to get it in the first place. But
Yeah. I mean, so one of the things that I was kind of happy that I think maybe by the third or fourth episode you find out is that her other love interest, the one she ends up marrying, Yoo Ji-hyuk,
yeah,
like
Yeah.
once I found out that he also went through the
Ji-hyuk.
same thing, he died, went back in time, I was like,
Mhm.
oh,
Oh,
thank
dude,
God,
that blew
because
my mind. I was like, what?
dude, no, I was happy because this guy was also giving me like big red flag vibes. Like I'm like, dude, like I'm like, what's up with these two men? Like this poor girl, leave her alone. Like why are you guys
I
obsessing
didn't get
about
red
her?
flags from him.
She
Dude.
was so sweet. He was so sweet. What do you mean?
No, he was doing like he was randomly like
He
finding
caught
her,
the coffee. He got the burn on his hand.
but he was almost being. I remember being so overprotective, and I just couldn't figure it out. I'm like, dude, this guy is just all of
I
a
could
sudden
see that.
so obsessive over this girl, and I'm like, leave her alone. Like, why does she have these men chasing her? But when you do find out that there's a reason why, then I
And then he
started.
had the little heart tattoo.
Yes. I backed away because then I'm like, I understand why you've been looking over her shoulder and you're doing all these different things and popping up in moments that you shouldn't really be popping out in. So I understood that. And
So
he
we
was
all
my
heard it
favorite
now.
character.
Carlos is not protective. He would let you get burned.
I mean, you don't ever want to cross the boundary of being too nice and like always showing up at your house and being like, oh hey, I just happen to be in the neighborhood and you keep your door open, Sylvia, so I just walked in because I wanted to make sure you're okay.
That's
Don't
all
tell
right.
everyone, Carlos. And especially don't tell them that her address is 111 Street.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, again,
That's the address. Anyone can walk in. Doors are open.
Yeah. I mean, but he was obviously my favorite character, and I'm glad that you do see that they even had a history before they even started working together, because then that even gives you more of an understanding. Like, this man always sort of like had a crush on her, always sort of loved her, but never really had the guts to approach it or say anything.
I like how you have this point of view now, because beforehand you were saying how you didn't like that
Well,
they
no,
had
that's what I'm saying. I backed away once I found out like there's a reason behind it. Then it made sense, because I mean, again, man, I'm telling you,
But my favorite character is actually Yoo Ji-hyuk, which is the that one girl that likes to eat.
oh yeah, she's
Yeah, because
great.
in the beginning, I thought it was like, okay, this is a weird character, but then I loved her from the start. I thought she was adorable. I thought she was hilarious. I thought like I loved the fact that she just like loved to eat, and then she was mean to you mean, and she like stood up for herself, but like tactfully.
She's independent. She's loud. She's
I loved her.
One of my favorites too. Yeah, her and the cook. Oh, I love.
I
the
know.
Cook guy.
So happy that
and
they
them
ended
together
up like
too was so
I like the cook, and I like that they ended together, but I do feel like his character wasn't needed for that much. Like, he ended up sticking around way too long. Like, we could have been done
He had
past him,
some
past the high school
development
reunion.
to him.
He was
No,
charming.
he had some development.
I liked him.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was gonna be like another love interest, potential love, but that instantly went like nowhere. I'm like, okay, like, no, this guy is just, she doesn't have eyes for him anymore.
Well, he kind of was, but he was kind of there to make the other guy jealous, and his purpose was to do that and to kind of reveal some of the lies that Yumin had said, and to kind of carry over some of the side plots that they had, and kind of carry over the story a little bit, and then also be the target of some of the stuff that happened later on, like with the restaurants and the fact that the one other lady tried to use him against her. Yeah,
he was definitely needed to walk in and basically tell everybody Su-min is a liar. You know, Ji-won told the truth the whole time. This is what happened. That type of thing. Like, I feel like he was needed, and I would argue he probably got the better ending with the funnier girl versus being a part of that whole drama. I loved his character. One of my favorites.
No, I mean, he was definitely needed for the high school, and then after that, again, I'm like, oh, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't know. I just felt like he got included, but I knew for a fact that they were gonna end up together once he heard over the phone that she loved like whatever little cakes or whatever little treats that he made, and he heard her say like, I love, these are the best things I've ever tasted. Like, I knew for a fact they were gonna end up together. I'm like, okay, he's no longer.
I mean, the moment we see her, we know that she likes to eat food, so it just makes sense.
Chef.
Yeah, he's a chef.
And apparently a fancy chef.
Yeah, is he like by any chance? Because I think in the beginning I got the feeling that he was like a big shot chef. Is he a big shot chef, or is just like, or is he just a regular?
Well, yeah, because he's like a fancy food chef. But he didn't really have like a following per se. Like he wasn't like a celebrity chef.
But you know, the thing that was weird about him too is like, he, ever since whatever happened in high school, he had given up girls. So for whatever the past amount of years, he had never dated, never looked at another girl, never
even made up girls. I think he
that's
just
what the guy made
up.
it sound. They made it sound like his manager or whatever made it sound like, dude, ever since
he
whatever.
specifically wore a ring to make sure no girls would flirt.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, these are all like, you guys are both blind to these red flags with some of these like men.
We're not blind. We just see these very good men, and we're like, God. This is a great green flag, Raul.
Yes.
I hope you raised your son to be this way, and Carlos, I feel bad. Your daughter's gonna go for all the bad boys. You're gonna be like, yeah, that's a great guy.
Like, right, leather jacket, I'm gonna for him.
She could fix
motorcycle.
him. Watch it.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what? Again, just this idea of like, the one guy's been so obsessive and so hurt that he never looked at it. It's like, come on, man. That's the thing about a breakup. Like, you can break up with somebody, go through hell for a couple months, but give it 5 months later, you're gonna be looking at somebody else, man.
Okay, but I think it was because he didn't necessarily know why she threw him out. That was the thing. So then he was fearful, and then he had too many girls flirting with him post that, to where he was just like, I just don't even want to deal with it right
Man,
now.
I've been hurt so many, and for me to have said like, "Oh my god," back in like, dude, yeah, then I
That's
should
why
have just
I'm
became
single.
I should became a priest or a monk or something, because it's ridiculous.
I feel like every time I've ever been broken up with, it takes me a year to 2 years for me to ever get with anyone else at that point. Because at that point, I just don't care. I don't want to even talk to anybody.
You're like, all right, time to blow some dust off that Tinder app.
2 years afterwards, all right, let me dust it off.
Because that's how apps work.
Yeah, that's how they work.
She has a special phone for her Tinder app.
Yeah. I actually take out my Kindle and I use that instead.
It's a burner.
They won't know my real number.
See, my little black book is my 3DS right there that you can see. That's where all my numbers are stored now.
Yeah. Mine's my Kindle or my Switch. That's where I break out the old Tinder profiles.
Tinder profile. No, I mean, again, this show's about like, hey, love and drama, and yeah, like, one of the characters that was terrible in the, you mentioned the rule, like the mother-in-law, and I feel like sorry for any woman that has like a terrible mother-in-law, because I just feel like every woman that marries like somebody, like their mother-in-law is just like, nobody has a perfect relationship, I feel like, with their mother-in-law. But yeah, this mother-in-law was very specifically like the
I think
worst.
my mom would be a good mother-in-law. She's very nonchalant, and she's like, she's very much like me, where we're kind of people pleasers. So she doesn't want to be a bother to anyone.
Well, the moment you start losing weight, it's going to be like, you're not feeding him.
Yeah. No, she would only say that to me, though.
That's Polish people too, though. Yeah, that's Polish people too. I go to my grandma's, and both of them are like, you're not eating enough. Yeah. What are your parents feeding you? I go, nothing, because I want to start drama.
Well, that was one of the characters, like the mother-in-law, that I'm like, oh, is she going to make a reappearance? Like, she has to. Like, she was just so terrible. And like, when she did come back, like, her and the one manager in the office that felt like he was above everybody and didn't do any work. Like,
oh my god, he was so
I like those characters just because, I don't know, I feel like they added a little bit of a spice to the show. A little bit something different. Yeah.
I loved when she brought him the same presentation three or four different times, and it was just different colors each time. She goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I brought you the old one, let me bring you the new one. And then the other character, I Miss Young, right?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting her name. She was just like, oh my god, I can't believe he's actually not reading it, because she brought him like a blue one, an orange one, and whatever the other colors were, and each time he's like, this is even worse than the other one.
And I thought she was smarter. Like, I thought she was aware of the hey, this manager just like sucks and blah blah. But it's like, man, this idea
is where culture comes into effect, though, because he's her elder, he's her superior, and he's also a man. So all of those three things, she just has to take his word for it for the most part.
I will say it was kind of cool seeing like a K-drama in that sense too, because I got to see a little bit of the difference in culture. Because watching anime, you kind of get a sense of the Japanese culture, but then with this K-drama, you get a little bit of a sense of Korean culture, which and how it's different than Japanese
very
culture.
Polite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like every year we at my company we have to take like all this different kind of training, and like I just so happens the last week I took like my training about like be respectful and doing things right in the office.
Competencies.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because in this office I'm like, dude, like they're doing so much stuff that like no way that stuff would fly. Even in the first episode where she finally goes back in time and she's like sort of freaking out and she starts beating on her boyfriend, I'm like, that alone right there. If you don't have a good reason, she would have been fired instantly.
It depends on the setting. I feel like if I did that in my job, they would kind of look at me like, you need to just like, can you sit down for a second still? Just like take a moment, take a breather.
Hey, be careful with Sylvia. She's slapping people over there. Make sure.
That's how I break my hand all the time.
In my job, if anybody did that, they'd be fired.
They'd be fired, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff that's just like, man, and again, this being a 2024 show, it's a little bit hard to well, I guess it was back in 2013, but even so, it's a little hard to excuse some of the stuff that's going on in the office.
But bear in mind, everyone there knew that they were dating. That's why I'm saying with her doing that, and even
which was not allowed.
Obviously my workplace wouldn't let me just slap anybody around. But if people obviously knew that I was dating somebody and I did that, I feel like it would be the safe situation where they're like, okay, this isn't a work issue, this is a personal issue.
Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy? That like I forgot that it was ever a thing like internationally. Adultery was illegal. Like there was an actual law that was prosecutable. Where like if you committed adultery, you could go to jail. Apparently.
Yeah. No. There's always like I talked about like how recently, like I'm talking like 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago, like Japan just raised like the age for consent from like 14 to like maybe 18 at this point. But it's like, damn, I'm like, so that kind of stayed in my head because I always wonder, is that why a lot of anime characters are always like 14, 15 from like back in the day? Because maybe that was like consent.
The age of
kind of
consent.
crazy when you look at all
Another
the
fun
laws.
fact: Iraq has the lowest age of the lowest age of marriage for you to get married. I don't remember the age off the top of my
Like
head.
average age of marriage?
No, not average. Like it's legal for you to get married, I think, when you're like 9 or 10. Don't quote me on the age. I might be off on the age, but I think that's what it is. I think they have the lowest. And then I think China has the highest because I think China has men have to be 22 to get married and women have to be 20 to get married, which I think should just be a law all around, personally.
Yeah, nobody should be getting married at 18.
At 18, yeah.
But
it kind of reminds me of like the old shows or shows that show like especially royalty, kind of like in House of Dragons when King Viserys when his wife died, they were looking at one of the Valerian girls when she was like 12 or 10 or something.
But that's like
for her to be his wife in like a few years whenever she pretty much got her period the first time.
But that was like royalty, and I could see like
so it's a red flag when he holds the door open for you and he buys you food. But if he's royalty and you're 12,
I'm talking House of the Dragon
and you
in
got
Westeros.
Your first period.
Well, Sylvia, first of all, she's from a very prestige bloodline that doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so I wouldn't just say no.
How do you know I'm not part of the bloodline from all the kings in Poland?
Yeah.
I appreciate that both of you guys enjoyed the show, though, because I think it's very different from what you normally watch. And I was getting text messages from, obviously with our little group chat, you guys were both basically mentioning like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Or it seemed like you guys were responding to it. So I'm glad that my first show that I recommended, you guys both somewhat enjoyed maybe.
No, like the only way that I can say it wasn't good is, if I watch another Korean drama and then I have something to compare it to. But like right now, this being my first, it's at the top of the list. And unless I keep watching more and like, oh, well, no, this one's definitely better than that, I start making a ranking. But yeah, this was a good start for me.
No, I will say I wouldn't have watched it on my own. Like if somebody said, "Hey, watch this kid drama," I probably would like, nah. But it was nostalgic in the way, and there's things that are just like the Mexican soap operas and things that it's not. Like in the one moment that really got me like earlier on was when what's her name, the girl that likes to eat,
oh man,
John, when she was stuck in the bathroom and then she needed like a pad or tampon or something, and then
Su-min did not help her at all.
I know. And then Ji-won like helped her and all that stuff. And then when they went to slow motion, when she put her sweater around her waist, I was like, "Oh my God, it's so ridiculous." So that was the moment I was like, "Yep, this is totally a soap opera." And then the moment that I was yelling at stupid Ji-hyuk. Yeah, is when he was being all dramatic because when they were kissing in his apartment. And then all of a sudden he like had those flashes of his car accident. It was like no, you can't date me because I'm gonna die soon. And then he like kicks her out of her apartment. That's when I was yelling. I was like, "You fucking idiot!" Like just go with it. But yeah,
in the original timeline, she mentioned that Gyuri, like that she got fired from her job. Did that ever come about as to like what originally led to her getting dismissed?
Yeah, because there were rumors that she had like an affair, or she was having a
Relations
relationship
with her.
With her stepbrother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's why she got fired? But she didn't get fired. She like they probably told her to step away.
No,
And
because
she
there were
left.
suspicions of it, but nobody knew that they were siblings.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not
I mean, that's
step
kind of
siblings. They were
weird.
like
I
for
feel
real
like that's a
siblings.
simple explanation as to
Like half siblings, I think they were, or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's also because nobody knew that he was the heir to H and K, and that she was his sibling.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And yeah, but I kept wondering. I'm like, what's gonna happen now to get her to terminate? Because again, this show's very like if it happened once, it'll happen again. So I wasn't sure if like later on in the season that was gonna be something else that was gonna be resolved, like something with her story, and then all of a sudden she's getting fired, and they gotta fire somebody else.
But I will say that I did like the main bad guy, like the husband.
Yeah.
What's his name? Min-hwan. I thought he played his role really well because he totally played it like entitlement. He played it awesome. Like
Arrogant,
selfish, totally well. Arrogant, totally well. Like the totally the thought that he was such a ladies' man, but he was like bad at it. And the way that he was chauvinistic and all that stuff, like I thought he played all those roles really, really well. That even to the point where he like I could see him wanting to murder her, for his own advantage. So I thought he played it pretty well too. So I thought he was well cast for that.
Yeah, I thought that hairstyle made him look really dorky. And I'm like, you probably just gotta fix his hair, and he's probably gonna be like the most beautiful man. But then later on, when he proposes, and he was sort of like more put together, I'm like, oh, I guess he doesn't look as beautiful as I thought he would. I would
And
expect him
because
to
he
look.
didn't start off with glasses.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
But then when he slept with that really rich lady at the end, I'm like, dude, like this guy, like how, like that's like a big pool right there. Like I don't even know how he managed to get that.
It was a screw of opportunity for her, I say.
Yeah.
You raw.
I will say that one scene where you kind of see the difference when Ji-hwan, when she got the food all over him, how he was so upset with her. He was basically yelling at her. But then when Su-min got the food on him,
He's like,
he was like, oh, it's totally fine. Like, it's no big deal. The shirt didn't even cost that much. And then you have Ji-won basically being like, I bought that shirt for him. It was this much money. Which I don't
It was
know,
like a
the
million
transfer
won or whatever.
yeah, which I don't know the transfer between the money, but she was basically like, oh, this is how much it was, and then you see Su-min freaking out, and she goes, oh my god, I'll buy you a new one. He's like, oh no, don't even worry about it. Meanwhile, when we look back in time, he was so upset with her that he was telling her like, you need to get me another one. I can't believe you did this. You're so clumsy. All of that other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she was straight up guiding him in the wrong way by telling him about his investments and like, oh, invest in this company and stuff like that. We're like,
and then
we're
she
like, I don't
invested
know,
in the right
man.
one.
I guess I'll never know the feeling of being murdered by my significant other and my best friend sleeping together and go back in time to like really understand how much hatred I would have to be like, no, I'm making their lives hell. But again, man, I feel like at a certain point, if you just give them a little bit of money and put them in the right path, maybe they could have been saved. But I mean, that's not what we got. But yeah, like he himself was trash because no matter the relationship he was in, he was just so pathetic all around.
Yeah,
he couldn't really fend on his own.
Yeah, but he was also an idiot too because he was so easy to manipulate by everyone that tried.
I always did like when he like try to be really like how you said it, like she dropped something and then he was like, oh, so friendly and so like but in reality he was like an asshole
that
behind
fucking smile
closed doors
too.
That fucking smile,
Oh,
yeah.
man. It's like he always had another thought in his brain of, well, I will say with Su-min, he was very much, oh, it's okay, no problem. But then with Ji-won, I don't know what the difference was between the two. He automatically went towards attacking her, feeling like almost he could control her. Versus Su-min, he almost was letting her kind of do whatever she wanted and say whatever she wanted. So it was odd seeing those differences. And I think if Ji-won didn't push as hard as she did to transfer her fate to them two, I feel like most of it would have gone to Miss Young instead, because it didn't seem like he would have had that relationship with Su-min. If they had gotten together, it seemed like they would have been a pretty normal relationship compared to what she had with him.
No, you're right, because that other relationship did parody more of like what she was going to. So it was almost like, yeah, once she got the cancer, like, is it just possible to, like, this relationship with her boyfriend and best friend could have maybe just like, if she pushed it enough, like they would have backed away. But they were so obsessed
but if
about
it wasn't for her like destroying that table, like Miss Young would have been in the same fate too, because when he pushed her, she landed where that table was, and kind of pretty much the same way.
Well, like when he died, and because of the table too, I'm like, man, it really did have to be a glass table, the only way to like die. So that was weird.
Which again, her fate first went to Miss Wan, or Miss Wan, I think.
So
it went to her first, and she specifically went out of her way to make sure that she didn't get that fate, and then she set everything up for Su-min to be able to have that fate.
So who's causing the time travel? Is it the cat? Is it the dad?
It's the dad.
The dad.
What cat?
Okay.
Oh, that cat.
Well, the cat. The cat that's like.
Oh yeah.
To me, I felt like the cat also had to do with it. Well, sort of, because that's sort of how they. Oh my god, they both had that.
It was all the dad.
Yeah, it could have been both. Honestly, the dad for her, and then the cat ended up being something that he was taking care of since he was in college. Yeah, that the cat sent him back to.
Caused the car accident.
You know what? Yeah, maybe the cat makes a little bit more sense too, because they both had a relationship with the cat. He never actually met her dad, but they were both feeding the cat at one point.
Yeah, and the cat was what caused the car accident, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's almost like the cat sent them. Yeah.
Or what a cat did. A cat caused him to have his car accident where his car flipped over because he was trying to get out of the way or swerve out of the way.
I don't remember.
Yeah. But again, man, I think it's just like messed up, because even that rich lady suffered his fate, where it's like her car at the end like flipped.
Okay, but she was a horrible person.
She was terrible, and I'm like, do we really need this bad guy this late in the show? Because again, I was trying to kind of think about it. If this was the second season and introduce her, like, great, now we have a new face. But I'm like, man, it's only one season.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it did work out, because she wanted to be smarter than anybody. But I don't know, man. At the end, she also kind of like fell flat. Especially, like, I felt bad for the bodyguard, because the bodyguard clearly, like, that was her, who she should have been having a relationship. That bodyguard would have done anything for her.
Didn't he double cross her though at the very end?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was working for the dude, the Yoo guy.
Ji-hyuk.
Yeah.
Well, that's after she probably slept with the other guy, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not putting up with this."
Which, yeah, like Raul said, he was Min-hwan was not, or I guess you, Carlos, he was not that attractive for her to go out of her way to sleep with him. Yeah, it was just opportunity, I guess. I don't know.
I was surprised, because like I kept thinking, like, you know, before they actually showed it, I kept thinking, like, I'm like, are they hooking up and I'm not seeing it, like, on the side, or they're just like. But then when you see it, it's like she walks in the room, and I'm like, oh man, like why did? But
the red heels are there.
Yeah. But I mean, for her, I mean, I'm not rich, so I'll never understand like this, like, you know, how do you get your rush, you know? Because it seems like a lot of rich people do get a lot of their rush from like messing around with, like, you know, people that don't have that kind of money, because they like the feeling, or it's an experience for them. But, yeah.
The commoners.
That's a good way.
Like, I give to the poor too. You see that? I slept with one of them.
Oh my charity. God. I didn't know that counted as charity. I'll think about that next time I go to the city.
Or maybe you can sleep with somebody named Charity.
No, just being like, you know, which lady is here to give charity, so I can, not me, but maybe text Raul, like, Raul, you need to head to the corner of LaSalle.
We learned that Raul is the nice guy. You're the one that wants to be the bad boy.
No, I'm trying to protect you guys. Look, this is why every girl that I meet for Raul, I'm like, if you hurt him, I will hurt you.
Oh, so he does do that.
Oh.
It's funny.
He has a whole meeting with them. He sits them down.
Raul finds
I find it sweet. It made me feel good about myself. Like, oh, Carlos does care about me.
Right when he meets with them, he slams the door in front of their face. He's like, "You see that?"
There's more where that came from.
Oh man. But you know, like she kind of, I mean, again, going back a little bit more to the beginning, I did think that Kang Ji-won had the right idea about, you know, like making herself rich, doing all these things. It's just, again, the fact, I think had Fate just let her have her own life, she would have been perfectly fine, because I think she would have invested the money. She would have maybe quit her company, moved to another country. But yeah, I think you also do need that thing about, hey, what was meant to happen is going to happen to you. Because I think that is, to me, that is what does make the show very, very interesting. And it does give me like this dilemmas about like, oh man, like what do you do? And I feel like this is perfect. Like, obviously, I don't think we're gonna get a second season of this, but I like the concept enough that I would like to see it with a different story, like different people play the same. Like, hey, I died, I gotta go back, and I gotta change things.
We
But this
do
is the way
see,
they,
though, she does try to break up with him. We see how that
Mhm.
happens, right? He
yeah,
was obviously getting physical, but then we see the aspect of her thinking about just leaving. But then we see when she tries to leave, she realizes whatever
Yeah.
was meant to happen still happens. So I think she ends up staying and she plays it out because she doesn't want it to happen to good
exactly.
people. She wants to put it just for them too. Because she figured out, okay, I didn't get burned on my wrist, but I still got hurt on my leg. Or this didn't happen to me, but this happened instead. So I
But
think she started to realize like the fate still ends up sealing itself with somebody else, and she wanted to specifically make sure it was to these people because these people have hurt her the most.
Yeah.
That's why she stayed, though. Because I feel like if it wasn't for that, she would have been like, all right, I'm out of here. I don't care anymore. You two do whatever you want to do. I'm going to a different area. It is what it is. But I think when she started figuring that out, that's why she stayed, and she tried to make sure that it went to them.
yeah, I mean, it's also 10 years of memories, so you have to like constantly remember
Mhm.
like what went wrong in my life in those 10
Her
years. What?
remembering those stocks, I don't know how it would have been right past my head.
Yeah.
I would have remembered some of them, like
I would have been
Tesla
like,
and SpaceX.
Tesla. Yeah, I would have been like, Tesla, Bitcoins, can I buy those?
Oh my god, Bitcoin, yeah, definitely. No, yeah, like I mean, you kind of do remember like the big stories, and it's one of those things like I don't know. I always think about like even if you go back in time, like some moments, like can you really? Is it good to change them? Like like I'm saying, like I like the fact that these things were meant to happen because I do believe I'm a big believer in the butterfly effect.
Definitely.
Like you mess with something and then something else is gonna change. So yeah, like I
That's a
would
good show.
rather know that if I went back in time everything was going to turn out the way I can just slightly change things a certain way or pass on certain things to other people. But yeah, that would make me feel a little bit better.
So what would you do if you went back in time 10
10
years?
years ago.
Yeah,
10
what would
years
you do?
ago. I mean, it's funny because the show was it was legitimately going to like 2013. So it's just
Yeah. So
yeah, I just got
2013, 2014, what do you do with your life now?
well, you know, back in 2013, I believe that's when Facebook was going into the stock market, and I remember having the
yeah.
opportunity to buy it, and I did not, and I could have bought it $20 per share, and that obviously would have made me some good money. So definitely invested in some good old
Is that what you would
Facebook.
have done first? Facebook?
I mean, things
Buy
that
the
I'm remember,
stocks?
things that I'm remembering. Yeah, Facebook
Yeah.
definitely.
In 2013, I was promoted at my job to a job that I was way too inexperienced to do well. But now
Mm.
I would do it significantly better. So I think I would just
Okay.
not do a shitty job at it.
That's
So you did
that's
the
it.
same thing, but a little differently?
Yeah, I would just do the job well and then probably speed up my career quite a bit.
You know what? That's the thing too. Like they go back with 10 years of like again, even though let's say they went back and they were 28, in reality they're 38. So that's kind of like that kind of has to feel good, man. Like having all this life
No,
experience and you're a younger body.
no, yeah, but I think they said that she was like 31 or something like that. So
But I'm
I
saying
think
like
when they
when she
went back,
died, she was 41. She died at
no.
41.
I think they were already in her 30s.
Yeah. She died when she was around. No. No.
No
I
matter
think
what, you
Carlos
got to
is right.
subtract.
She was 31 when she was getting married to him. So
Yeah.
she was 31 in that company. And then 10 years later she was 41. Or around that age, I'm pretty sure. I think Carlos is right.
So like whenever she died of cancer, however old she was, she
And I
got
think
to
they went
yeah.
back in time, and then she was 31 when they went back in time.
Yeah, because she had already been dating him for like 7 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they
I mean,
brought up the like being single again at her age.
Yeah, like I don't know. I would kill for that just to be a little bit more mature, little bit know more of myself, what I want to be, and have a little bit more energy. Because it feels. I think at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world and stuff like that. And I feel like when you're rich, that is everybody's going in the same path, same direction. We're all gonna end up underground. And I feel like when you're rich, that's kind of like what you start thinking about. Like, man, like
Not if I'm
I would do.
cremated.
No, but I'm saying like I would love to just do it and relive my whole life, even if everything went the same. But just again have kind of like an understanding
Your
of
whole
hey,
life or part of it?
no, just 10. I mean, we're just talking 10 years here, like the show.
Only 10 years. Look, if I went back in time 10 years, that's when I'm going to college, right? And I got a free ride to the college that I have or that I went
Nice.
to.
Yeah.
I would have immediately done pre-med. I would have not done social work.
Oh wow. What did you
I
get?
would have gone in a very different direction. My life would have been very different.
Is that because you got a scholarship to go to? Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah.
And then every so often, Carlos gets a little bit of lure.
I get a little bit of lure and I get distracted. And then you wouldn't obviously be in this podcast because you would be freaking saving lives.
No, I feel like I still would be. I think that part of me would still be the same. I just think my career would be significantly different.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the show, like Kang Ji-won, I mean, she's living a great life. She has freaking twins, those twins, man. Mm-hmm. The way they look once they show them a little older. Funny. They should have kept them baby size, but yeah, I mean, she got
even as babies, just baby sized.
No, it's because in reality, once the way they were dressed or the way they looked, they kind of reminded me of her old boyfriend. So that's why I was a little bit like, oh man, they just they remind me of the guy that died.
They continue the cycle. It has to happen in her family, the fate.
Yeah, but I mean, she got everything she wanted, and I think everybody went to jail. Is there anybody else that you would have rather they would have had a different fate? I mean, I kind of again keep saying like, oh, I wish this didn't have it, but what about you guys?
I will say the one thing that was missing that's always in the Mexican soap operas is that there was no jailbreak where she breaks out and tries to murder her again.
Well, she did try to murder her by putting.
No,
her
I know,
apartment.
but
the second time.
Yeah,
yeah. She didn't break out of jail because they always break out of jail. And then her crazy was, yes, it was a little over the top, but not a lot over the top. And typically in Mexican soap operas, they just go up in space type of crazy, and they're like being so dramatic with their crazy, and they're like laughing in crazy. But
I feel like I need to watch like a Mexican soap opera now. Just kind of get the feel.
Well, if you like them, you'll probably like them.
I probably would, yeah. I'll stop Game of Thrones and I'm strictly going to watch soap operas.
I feel like they purposely just stretch things. It's like they're the one piece of like storytelling. Like they will stretch it. Like, yeah.
And every woman is like very, very attractive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes the viewers come back, right?
Yeah. I mean, in this show, that again,
they were all attractive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody was like attractive, other than the manager guy. Like he purposely, I think.
What do you mean? He was the most attractive.
No, not him.
You don't like an older man?
No, the one that.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Was he not attractive to you,
Mr. Kim?
With the sexist one?
Yeah, he was so hot.
I don't know if you're putting my leg here.
What do you mean? If he was my boss, man,
you would be.
Sylvia likes a man that can make decisions, who can take control.
Look, he came back Carlos around. He just telling us not to go for the good boys, and I'm telling him, I love the sexist one. He's like, no, he wasn't attractive.
Well, I mean, you know what? He did turn it around at the end of the show. He was actually like part of the group. Part of the group, he was cheering at the wedding, so yeah, he like turned it around. He learned his lesson, so yeah, I'm still right about picking these people.
I can't believe you didn't think he was attractive. I thought he was like number one.
I'm looking at pictures of all of them. Okay, I had to point one of them out.
He was like number one. Min-hwan was like number two, probably.
Even the director Wang, which was the guy that got caught on camera hitting the stewardess in the pilot.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my god, that was
Yeah.
so dumb.
Like, what do you mean, like getting canceled for that?
Oh, or just doing that.
Mhm.
Like
Oh, yeah,
on a
man.
plane, dude, so especially like even then, like everybody still took out their phones and recorded everything
Yeah.
and then posted it
I
on
mean,
MySpace.
I was always
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
that's
Well,
well,
no, it was back in time, so it's like 2014. Where are they posting this?
No, it's
It's not
2013.
TikTok.
Facebook.
It's not Instagram. I
It
don't
says
think. It'd probably be
Facebook, I
like
think.
Facebook.
Facebook,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that was peak Facebook.
Facebook and maybe like YouTube potentially.
it would have
Yeah,
ended up on
probably
Yahoo
Facebook.
News. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I still love Yahoo News. I'm
I
not
do.
gonna
I go
lie.
on it every day.
Me too. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Yahoo News.
And every time they talk about like changing the thing, I'm like, don't change it.
Don't
Like,
do
keep
it. Don't.
just
Yeah.
just
Keep
why
it
would
how
you
it
change?
is.
Just keep it how it is.
Mhm.
Yes. But no, yeah, that director thing that was kind of like, because that was one thing about the show that I was like, man, she's like making things that would have happened like years from now. Like, she's making everything happen so instantly. And I
Right
mean,
now.
I
Yeah.
know.
that was one thing that kind of was a little bit annoying, because I'm like, man, things are just moving so fast, instead of like being like, well, damn, I have to wait 10 years to like slowly play this out. Like, and I guess it's for more for us, but I think in reality, you do have to wait a couple. You got to be more
Yeah.
patient with your revenge and stuff.
I agree. But they did condense it pretty well, and most K-dramas are only one season as well, so it's not like you have a second season that you have to look towards. It's only one season, and it is like wrapped up really nicely. Typically, where you're kind of like, okay, I'm content with this, and I was content with this ending. You have Su-min that's in jail. You have Ji-won and Hee-suk that are married. They have their kiddos. Min-hwan is obviously dead at this point. I thought it was like a good ending. It's pretty wrapped up. There's not really much else that you could ask for it.
So no matter how successful a show, they won't green light like another season. They'll just start fresh with a new idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I applaud them for that, honestly.
Typically, they're able to end them. Again, these episodes are usually like an hour and a half. I will say that one of the other ones that I recommended for you guys was Strong Girl. Strong Girl, I believe, has a prequel, and then
Yeah.
she has the one that plays now, and then I think they're going to do a second season with it. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me in it. But that's the one where she's super strong, and she
It's like Encanto.
like all the a what?
Encanto. The Disney movie?
No,
You never seen Encanto?
no.
What the
It's Mirabelle.
Mirabelle?
No.
Yeah.
But that one I do think has more seasons to it, but typically they do wrap them up, because I did Crash Landing Into You that I recommended. That one was only one season. That one wrapped up really nicely. You have the Behind Your Touch, which again, one season wrapped up really nicely. That was the butt touching one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so typically they end within one season. I feel like, Raul, you need to watch that one. I think you'll like it.
The
It's
butt
more of
touching
a
one.
do you like a detective show?
Yeah.
It's more of a detective thriller. That one has way more plot twists, though.
The butt touching one?
Mm-hmm. A lot more plot twists.
A lot more.
What's it
Like,
called?
it's not just
A lot more. Behind Your Touch.
Behind Your Touch.
Behind Your Touch, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that
So
might
she
be.
has to go around touching the butts.
You know, I kind of in the beginning mentioned like Su-min, like how I could fix her, but I don't know, man. There was something about Su-min that I just thought she
Carlos,
was.
it's okay. We understand. You like the bad boys. You like the bad girls. It's okay. You can fix them.
I don't know,
All she
man.
needed
I
was
like.
a hug from her dad.
What is it?
All she needed was a hug from her dad.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. You know, like she just didn't have
The
a
love
good
of a
dad.
father.
Yeah, loving father. That's
Daddy
what it
issues,
was.
I tell you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Honestly, yeah, I have a great relationship with my dad. I feel like if I didn't, I would be a little...
Wanting
Well,
to
that's
murder
fu-
us.
well, that's
Yeah.
funny. She's evil because she
I
doesn't
would go
really.
camping with Carlos, obviously.
No,
Not
but
with
I'm,
you, Rule. You're great.
but I'm saying like it's funny that she's evil, but she had because she didn't have a good relationship with her dad. But then the one guy is evil, and he had a great relationship with his mom. So it's like almost like you can distinguish between like sexes. Like, you know, for a guy, if he's too attached to his mom, like that's kind of a red
Mhm.
flag, because then you kind of get used to like oh, like I'm used to my mom doing my laundry and cooking, so I don't want to do this. So it's just kind of funny. Where I think if you don't have a mom, you're a little bit maybe more independent. So just I think that's kind of funny how that works out.
Yeah, with guys, yeah, I feel like if they're super close with their mom like that, they almost look for a girlfriend or for a wife that's going to baby them like their mom did. Versus if they're closer with their dads. But it's the same thing with girls too, which, like I said, I love my dad. We have a great relationship, but it's also like a very much like, he's my dad type of thing. I feel like a lot of people have like, my dad babies me. My dad never babied me in my life.
No, but it's one of those things like,
Me
being
neither.
Hispanic, I feel like the mom is always taking care of the son. And I feel like with me, like I've always had to be like, Mom, don't do this, don't do that. And it's impossible. Trust me, they'll never understand like, no. And thankfully for me, like I don't need everything. Like I am very picky when it comes to certain things. So it's just like, yeah, no matter what, like my mom can't get me to eat some stuff. So it's just like I feel like I'm not that baby, but it is there because my whole life my mom has just done such a good job with me.
I'm a baby.
I feel bad. Yeah, I feel bad.
I'm a mama's boy.
I'm an only child. Both of my parents only wanted a girl. My dad raised me very much like when I was learning how to ride a bike. I just remember this when I was learning to ride without like the training wheels. He pushed me down, so I fell really hard and goes, "Good. Now you're not going to fall. You know how it feels, right?"
How old were you? Do you remember?
Like 7 or 8.
Because I got to teach my daughter some. I'm taking notes. I'm listening to the story.
No, I was like 7 or 8. Most dads will be like, no, you're okay. And they're holding on to it. My dad just held me up. I went a couple, and then he just pushed me down. I hit really hard on the ground, and it was cement at that point. And I looked up at him, and he's like, now you're not going to fall. So listen up. Never fell on my bike.
Oh, man.
I learned it very quickly. Same with soccer. He would just like try hitting it close to my head. And he's like, you need to understand where you're okay with hitting it with your head. So he very much raised me like, you need to be tough, and that's it.
You got a broken toe, we're going hiking, so too bad.
We're going hiking in Colorado. Like, you just got to deal with it. Yeah. Broken hand, when I dislocated my shoulder, he was like, hold on to this, watch this, bite on the towel, let's go.
No way.
See, way.
That is
But he's also the person that like cut himself while he was cutting like foliage, and he just uses super glue. So he raised me how he raised him, how he was raised too. And I appreciate it because I think I'm tougher from it physically. Emotionally though, that's where we run into issues.
The emotional part doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But again, my mom, she's obviously great too, but I definitely had more of a relationship with my dad because he was just there more, I guess.
Do you by any chance happen to have any training, sort of like they started giving Kang Ji-won in the show to make her a little bit more, ready for some of these situations that later on did happen, to be able to self-defend herself?
So my dad was in the Polish army. He was a lieutenant. So yes.
Oh, nice.
That's why I leave the doors open.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you leave the doors open, because you don't gotta worry about anything.
Yeah.
She was dating this guy that taught her a bunch of judo.
Yeah, easy.
Oh my god. You know what? We probably will never find her house because she's in the middle of the woods. So
why do you go camping all the time?
Yeah.
It's the backyard is what she calls it. Camping is just going on the
Raul
backyard.
comes over every single weekend. What do you mean?
Why do you think I go camping so often?
Yeah.
It's free.
Come
on.
No. It's free, and if he ever needs to use the toilet, he can. He's got an actual toilet. It doesn't have to be out in the woods. And the door's never locked, so I can just show up. See?
Man, I'm just kind of like looking at every character, make sure we gave everybody some little bit of time for discussion. I mean, his friends, I thought they were kind of weird in the beginning because I'm like, did I miss where these guys are coming from? Even when they show that flashback of them hanging out in college, I still, for some reason, I'm like, they look a little bit different. Yeah, but they were way too loyal. I'm like, man, what is this guy like? I don't know. I just felt like they weren't getting anything from that friendship, and he was getting everything from them. They were kidnapping. They were fake delivering chicken.
I thought he was paying for their business.
Was he paying for their business?
I thought, or like he bought the business for them, or he was paying for it, because he kept saying like, I'll make it work, like something along those lines, to where it was worth it for them almost.
I don't know, man. It just felt like they weren't even his friends. It was more like it was his like people for hire. You know, like at
Mm,
no point that I'm like, man, this doesn't even because he just kept like like it was just so funny. Like they would be fighting for like one scene and then all of a sudden they're
mm.
gone, or you know, like he just would
He would
walk
flip them
away.
over, and then yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of funny.
And apparently, it was
I
a
almost
big deal
forgot
that
about them.
yeah, it was a big deal when he finally flipped him.
but he was
Yeah.
distracted. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm. I almost forgot about them though. I'll be honest. They really weren't there for too much.
but they kind
I
of worked too, though.
Yeah,
Mm.
no. I hope that I get to see more of these. Like, okay, again, I'm not gonna go to my way to go looking for some of these K dramas, but I would like to see these actresses like show up and because sometimes there's Hollywood movies and they happen to have
Mm.
scenes in other parts of the world. I don't know. I just feel like I don't want this to be my last thing that I ever seen with these people. Like, I want to see them. Like, I
That's
don't know.
hurrah.
Somehow I feel like I grew a
I
relationship with them, and I
it
just want to see them again.
Squid Games. If you enjoyed Squid Games, the actress with the short hair, oh my god, what was her name? Both of them had short hair. They were paired up in the last episode together with like the marbles, and then the other one let the other one win. Oh, I'm forgetting her name.
Yeah, because I'm looking up like the
Both of the girls had short hair. She let the other one win. Um, and she told her like she has to go back. The other girl was from North Korea and she came down here, and then the
yeah.
other girl. So the other girl that let her win,
That
where
was
she was
her.
shot, she is the main character in Strong Girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going through like her filmography right now, or
Yeah,
things that she's
so
been on.
she was the main person in Strong Girl. Again, I do recommend that show. I think you guys would like it. It's a hard show to explain, but it is more of like a cutesy The Boys
Yeah, I mean,
show.
she's 38, Kang Ji-won, the actress. So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
like she was born same year as me. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm like,
she's around our age.
yeah. So I'm like, man, she looked again. I liked her before she got the makeover. Even at the end of the season, once
Mhm.
her hair grew back, I'm like, yeah, I didn't need her to always be looking glamorous and stuff. I liked her in the
Like I
beginning, it's
said
nice and
though,
simple.
K-dramas, when they have the short hair, that's how you know it's the main character.
That's the distinction of
They gotta cut their hair. Mhm.
yeah. No, I don't have any other like final thoughts. I thought it was great. I think if you're looking for something different to watch, this show, at least for me, because I watched so many things, it was just so perfect to watch it. Especially because I think in the summer it's been so jam packed with like House of the Dragon, The Boys, all these violent things, and then just for me to actually like
Mhm.
have this, and then again I was watching Emily in Paris. So to me, like it was a very fine combination. It's almost like eating the right pair of fish with the right pair of wine. Felt good.
Yeah, like I said, this was one of the shows that I really enjoyed. I think this one and then Crash Landing Into You are my two favorite K-dramas that I've watched for a while, and
Crash
these
landing
two are.
into you.
This is the North Korea and the South Korea one.
Ah, got it.
Yeah, so those two shows to me and a few of the other shows that I've been watching, I think they're good just to kind of have in the background. They play, you kind of know what's going on. You have some comedy aspects, but then you have like the more real aspects. So I recommend both of those shows to anybody that are looking for something a little bit more different from what they're used to, but they still want something while they're doing something else, they're still able to enjoy it.
No, again, I think we're gonna be doing another one of these in the near future, and if somebody does recommend another like K drama that me or
Mm-hmm.
you or or I'm familiar with, like I'm open to it, man. I'm open to all sorts of things, especially if they're good. And this was definitely so good. Again, I don't know what the rating for this is or how popular it was, but
Mm-hmm.
I give this like especially because you've given me something to have a conversation with now about like, hey, like what are you into K dramas? Like let me talk to you about this one. Have you seen it? Yeah.
I'm glad you guys liked it. It was my first real recommendation to you guys, so I'm glad I didn't fall
Yeah.
flat.
No, bro, I see that you started praying, so I think we need to say your final thoughts.
No, no, it was. I'm glad that I saw it. It was long. and after watching it, definitely I feel like I needed a break to kind of watch. That's part of the reason why I watched that pop star show was because it was just different, and it kind of gave me a break from all that and from subtitles and from because even though I watched it dubbed, like
You still watch it
I saw with subtitles because the subtitles were sometimes better than what they actually said in the dub version. So
yeah, that annoys me when you're like, they didn't say that because the subtitles say a completely different thing.
Yeah, I like the context of the subtitles too. Yeah.
No, this is great, man. Again, thank you, Sylvia, for recommending this. Again, don't be shy and keep saying things. I think, when you recommended doing the video games, that was awesome. Doing this one's awesome. So it's just like, yeah, we need more stuff from you.
Now I just need to persuade you guys to play a game while we do a podcast to see what happens during that.
What kind of game? Like, explain yourself. Like,
I was thinking Chain Together because I feel like we all have to kind of work together and communicate together while we're playing.
Is it on Xbox?
I might be, maybe. I know it's.
Can I play it on the laptop? If not,
you might you might be able to play it on the laptop because the graphics are pretty low.
I'm in.
You might be able to. I feel like playing that and trying to have a conversation about any type of show or just things that we're watching and enjoying. I think people might see a different side of all of us.
Oh God.
It's funny that we were talking about COVID and you're bringing this up because when the reason like this podcast sort of exists today, it's because during COVID, me and Ramon, we would play Apex, and the whole time before we got into the action, we were just dropping. Like we would always talk about like what movies are we watching, what did you think about this? Mm-hmm. So that's sort of how this podcast started, by gaming and talking about movies. So like that sounds like great to me because it's like, again, that's what we were doing before. We would game and talk. So I'm down for that. We just gotta make it work.
I still need to get you to play Valorant.
I play Valorant. What do you mean? I downloaded it and I play it.
You've been avoiding me. You won't play it with me.
Like, I had to message you to say, like, let's play Valorant? Is that how I get your attention for it? You act like I'm putting, like, a back signal when I play Xbox.
Yeah, I'm looking out to see the senior
he
nerd, like, little
whenever
signals.
he's on.
No, I go online. I have
really?
So that it shows. Yeah, that's been like that for a while. Ramon's the one that
I know it's annoying.
He tried to hit me at 12:15, and I'm going to sleep. But yeah. No, sounds good. I mean, keep coming up with these like crazy suggestions because I love them. I love them sincerely.
Everyone's just gonna see Raul and I just vibing, trying to play the Chain Together, and then you're just yelling at us, and tears start pouring down.
No, I'm not even like that at all. Oh my God.
I don't know how I would be with Chain Together. If you're good at game, I probably wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. No, well, no. I'm glad you're still open to doing gaming because it's something that we don't talk enough about. But I'm a little shy. I'm a little shy sometimes to text because I'm like, I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I don't know who Raul's with on a Saturday night.
with my friends. Or camping.
With this roommate. Yeah, or camping with me. So either way, we both get the text. What do you mean?
Oh my God. All right. Well, if somebody would text or give some thumbs up here and there, I wouldn't be feeling like this.
All right. Starting today, I'm just going to send.
Don't be like Raul with his freaking 5 smiley faces.
My favorite is we'll text like a couple times and then Raul just comes in and he's just like emojis to it, like reacting to all of it.
And he does it purposely. It's the worst part about his Android self.
It's the only retaliation I have against you iPhone users that always hate on us non-iPhone users.
Right. Well, I hope you guys know that I'm gonna cut the last 5 minutes of whatever we've been talking about. So I'm gonna end it now.
The audacity!
Because the podcast ended 5 minutes ago. All right, I'm gonna end the session. Oh.